Sounds good. Sounds good. Welcome to 2024.
Damn, eh?
Let's get
It
it.
is our first live in the new year.
It is.
We are having technical difficulties. By we, I mean me. hmm
Let's go.
Oh, I got a notification that you're live.
Can you hear us?
Who? No, I meant on my phone. I got a notification that Forward Vibrations is live. I wonder. So, do you have three social things at the top? You see
I
Facebook,
do. I think I need
YouTube.
to. Hold on.
We're in this.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Hi. You got people rolling through.
You see her? Hey.
Yep.
Let's
Hello.
go. Happy New
Hello. Happy
Year.
New Year. Happy New Year.
Rock, Razzo. Mrs. R. Mrs. R. Mrs. Uh, uh, Mrs. R. Well, I tried to do
So is
the.
that is
I'm
that a
ready.
teacher in your
Hey, look
school?
at my Aunt Roz starting the new year off with us.
Hey, Auntie.
Mm-hmm. Happy New Year, Aunt Roz. Happy New Year. All right, check us in, Shireen. Let's get it.
Alrighty.
Let's go.
Oh,
I
I could use
mine
some.
says it's all checked off in this live. I exited out of the Instagram because it felt like I could hear myself. It was going on the actual like on my computer. But let's go check us in. It's 2024.
Alrighty. I'm trying to avoid my glare in my eyeballs, but I'm gonna have to look a little funny today. But I'm shuffling.
Mm,
Shuffling, baby. But actually, as you're drinking, and we
every
before
day
we
I'm shuffling.
right before we check in, how
Okay,
about we
before
just
we
do a
check in,
quick
talk to me.
cheers?
Let's go.
Happy 2024.
Let's go,
Have a
y'all. Welcome to
herbal
another
Thursday.
live Herbal Tea Thursday.
Hey. Oh, I needed that too.
Yes,
I needed
yes.
that
I'm
too.
your healthy
All right.
habits and
Oh, I got
lifestyle
one.
coach, Joe Bonnie, in the building, representing Empowered Plates and Empowered Lives podcast.
Yo, let me tell
And
you. Let me
I
tell
got
you.
my girl Shireen from Voices and Vibes podcast, the founder of blackprint.com, your store, your online store for all things wellness.
Girl, you ready to get into this?
Yeah, I am. Just in case they didn't know. Just in case they
Okay.
didn't know who we were.
All right. I'm down with that.
Let's
I
get it.
got a card that is so applicable to this conversation we're about to have.
Oh boy, let's
And
go.
I was just gonna say, like, when you're supposed to do something, you're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to do something. And this
Okay.
conversation is about what was our thumbnail? What was the message on the thumbnail? Because then I'm gonna read this and you'll be like, oh,
Thumbnail
mm-hmm.
said, "What can balance your energy?
Okay.
What can
You're
help
not gonna
balance
believe this.
your energy?"
You ready? You ready for this?
Ready?
This card says one thing that is draining your energy.
One thing that's draining energy,
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
say stress.
Yeah.
Stress definitely can drain your energy.
Yeah. And stress in like different levels can
Agreed.
drain your energy, right? Like it can be coming from different places. It can be work related, family related, partner related, right?
Health related.
Health related, your own pressures related, business
Mm.
wise, XYZ. It can be so many things. I don't know what's going on with this prayer.
So many things.
hmm
And you can't really dodge stress, at the end
No.
of the day. Like stress is gonna be there. It's just really unnecessary negativity.
Yeah.
release of
Yeah.
toxicity. Yes, Aunt
Yeah.
Ross. Agreed. I think
Yeah.
it's like the initial onset of stress and then knowing how you're going to manage it or deal with it so that way you minimize it as much as possible. Because you definitely can't live a life without it, I don't
Yeah.
think. Because there are so many stressors in our environment, whether they're external stressors or internal stressors. So
I
I
think it's
agree.
just, I mean, there's going to be stressors, but how you cope, or what methods you use to cope is really what you need to kind of focus on, as opposed to focusing on the stress, because whatever you put that energy into, right, that's what is going to come out. That's what you're going to face. So I wouldn't be putting the energy into the stress. But this is such a segue into our conversation, because the topic of today is, does the power of physical activity help with your energy? Right? I might have said it a little differently, but really, that is what we're talking about.
Agreed. Wholeheartedly. I'm excited about this conversation because I kind of got like this. I don't know. I don't want to say I invented it, but this hashtag moving and grooving. And I think once you find a good
You
groove,
definitely can't say that you
then
invented it.
I didn't. I didn't. I just wanted to say, but
Mhm.
I use that hashtag moving
Yeah,
and
yeah,
grooving. But I feel like once you get in a habit of actually moving your body or you are feeling good about moving your body, you start to get
yeah.
into a groove with it. And so I actually just love the whole moving and grooving to go along with my I call it mindful movement, which is still physical activity, but it's just, not necessarily seeing it as quote unquote exercise. Because you can do different things just to move your body. It doesn't have to be the immediate result of exercising. It could just be that you're appreciating your body and you want to move, whether you want to get up and do a yoga pose and release some tension in a certain area, you're mindfully moving your body. So I like this vibe of like this mindful movement, just because it's being mindful and appreciative of having a body and then allowing your body to do what it is that you can do and appreciating it for that. So it's kind of like honoring the movement that you can actually do in your body. And I think that helps with minimalizing stress because if I can start my day off walking and getting those endorphins flowing, I know I could have a better way of approaching stress or unnecessary negativity or obstacles that are going to arise once I get to work or even before I get to work, like traffic, anything that might pop off before really getting my day in a groove. I think I enjoy that aspect of mindful movement.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you when it comes to the term mindful movement, and you and I were having this conversation offline earlier today,
Right.
and I don't think that mindful movement takes away from physical. Who you giving that eye to?
Who do you think? What's
You
his
just
name?
gave the don't make me. But anyhow,
Because he's
um,
looking at me like, Ma.
yeah, but to keep it pushing, I don't think that it takes away from. I don't think that physical activity takes away from mindful movement.
Not at
Right.
all. Nowhere
Right.
near.
I feel like you make a decision and you can appreciate your body, and half those people in the gym, they're appreciating themselves, right? It doesn't matter if you're yoga posing, you're going for a walk, or you're in that
Lifting
gym.
weights. None of
If you're in that gym, you're still
being
taking care.
intentional.
Exactly, you're taking care of yourself, right? In your way, in your preferred way, or the way that maybe your body requires, because you might be doing yoga but maybe you need a little bit more for whatever health reasons or whatever reasons that you have. So I definitely think it, whether it's termed mindful, I think that there's a mindful decision that is made once you start getting into that. But
Agree. And then I
yeah,
think also when we talk about exercises and doing what your body responds to.
yeah.
Someone like me with PCOS and endometriosis and having adenomyosis on my left side, I can't do high intensity
Mm,
type of training. So for me, the low impact cardio and strength training will work best
mm.
for my body versus um,
Someone
the
else.
elliptical or like what do you call it, CrossFit or actually running. Like
Mm-hmm.
running could cause me to be in more pain at times. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just, and that kind of goes back into my term of mindful movement, being mindful of what your body can best responds to when it comes to moving to where to honor it. But I'm with you 100%. Being any type of intentionality with physical activity could definitely just be simply physical activity. You can call it physical activity, you can call it exercise, you can call it mindful movement. You can be moving and grooving, but at the end of the
Yeah.
day, the benefits of actually moving your body and honoring your body is what's key. And that's what's going to help with balancing out that energy and managing stress.
Mm-hmm. And we have Crystal saying, I think physical activity could be me taking laundry to the laundry room and taking those steps. So when I'm moving mindfully, I'm intentional with the steps I take. I mean, if you're intentional with the steps you're taking, you're still counting. I think about people that I've worked with, and they're intentionally counting their steps. So they're aware that to the laundry room and back is taking the steps. I agree with you, Crystal, but I mean, I don't take away I wouldn't just take away that, because the person who's doing whatever they're doing, whether they're not calling it mindful or not, they probably are. Some people are being intentional about what they're doing. Those people in the gym, they're very, very intentional, but it's really about what works for you, because you gave an example for what works for you, Giovanni. But for me, I could tell you, when I made a decision to start running at 5 o'clock in the morning and doing, I used to run 3 times a week in the morning at 5, and I would do a 5K. It was extremely intentional. And it was extremely intentional, my planning of my food and everything like that. And then the additional days I would go to the gym. So what works for me will be for me, but the intention and the mindfulness, it doesn't take away from that, from regardless of what you're doing. It was all
Right.
very intentional.
And I think
Yeah.
what I love the most about movement or physical activity is that it's also a form of empowerment. Like it can boost your confidence. It can make you feel good about yourself that you actually did something that you probably
Hmm.
didn't do or didn't make a decision to do the day before. So I
Hmm.
like the fact of feeling empowered. And then when you join challenges and other people are moving and other people are accomplishing certain types of activity, physical activity metrics, it makes you more motivated and it holds you accountable sometimes of actually doing it because you can do it and you're choosing to do something else. So I love the empowerment feeling after doing an intentional workout or physical activity or mindful movement that you can get by just saying, man, I did 2 miles a day, or I did 4 miles a day, or man, I got in 7 miles, or I just took a slow walk and I was just grateful to be outside and getting that vitamin D. Or I did this hot yoga workout, or I
Yeah.
did this hot Pilates and it was like, whoo, man, it was hot in there. It's a different experience. Or then me and you, Shireen, we used to dance. I've been dancing before the age of 2, tap, jazz, ballet, lyrical, hip hop, modern. And that was empowering, to either go out
Hmm.
there and win dance competitions or just go out there and do a great group number or even having a bomb behind solo or duet. Like it was empowering just to be able to move to the music, feel the vibes, and be able to see what your body can do. Not
Yeah.
everybody, like some people used to be in awe. You get on stage and you perform, be like, oh my God, how did you do this? Or it was so dope when you did this move or that move. And it's just like that empowerment of just moving, I think is something I like to embrace as well. That also goes along with balancing your energy because you feel good about yourself. You feel good about your body.
Yeah, I think also once you see that your body is maybe making changes, right? Especially if that's what your goal was, or even when that was not your goal, right? Or you see that your body is capable of doing more because you've made changes into like the habits. And it's funny because the year starts and everybody knows that that's when the gym memberships go up in January. And by the end of January, the attendance in the gym goes down, right? So everybody has that. We talked about not setting resolutions last week, or just doing it slightly differently because you're doing a lifestyle change as opposed to, I need to drop 20 pounds, and you're like in the gym and then you feel the pressure and the stress comes on. But when you do see the changes, whether it is, sometimes like right now I'm out of shape. So whether like I'll come up the stairs and I'm like, oh Lord, I'm out of breath. Or I dropped a video this week and I ran around my studio in 2 rooms and then I was like, whoo, I'm out of breath. Right. So I recognize that I'm not in my best form. But once I start implementing little changes in the consistency of it, then, running around the 2 rooms or coming up the stairs, I'm not holding, like trying to catch my breath. So, yeah, seeing the changes, the healthy changes, or the small things that your body can tolerate is always a win.
I think it's
And
you
then
hit two
just
things
to go
just
back to
now.
one
Oh,
thing
go ahead.
no, just to go back to the one thing that you said about both of us used to dance. We used to both dance. Because yeah, I did the same thing, right? I didn't do tap. I just did ballet, jazz. I did like an Afro Caribbean dancing, but it's the way it made me feel, right? It was the way it made me feel like, and even now, if I'm stressed, I always recall that if I throw in some soca, or sometimes I don't remember, but if I throw in some soca, that totally changes how I feel, the beat of the music. Yeah, I feel it from the inside, and then that makes me want to move. So, yeah. So, sorry, what were you going to say?
I think it was, I forgot all of them. One point you were talking about building healthy habits and their lifestyle changes, and not just saying I have a goal of losing 20 pounds.
Hmm.
I think that's what I love the most about the My Healing my journey program that I started is that like some of the women who join my program, they have a goal of losing weight or they have a goal of wanting to look good in certain clothes.
Hmm.
And I think once having that initial conversation, we realized no, we want an entire lifestyle change. Yes, we would love to see a short-term goal of losing this weight, but overall, we want healthier habits. We want to be able
Yeah.
to feel good and feel vibrant all the time and not just have set goals and metrics that you want to continue to just see for yourself. Overall, you want to feel good every single day. You want to be healthy, you want to be happy, and you want to be free. And that all starts with being intentional about whatever decisions you make when it comes to what you're eating or how you're moving your body or even your mindset, what you think about yourself, how you love yourself, and how you take care of yourself. So I think
Mm.
that was one thing that I really loved about what you said. And then it was a second thing that you said, and I didn't know, I forgot now because I was waiting to come back. But I think it's about having fun. And I think you
Mhm.
were saying about having fun. And if you're not having fun doing it, or it doesn't challenge you in a way that is motivating and encouraging, you're not going to stick it out. You're not going to keen to do it. Then that's when what was supposed to be helping relieve the stress and create balance now causes more uh, frustration and tension. And now it's become a task instead of something that you embraced and was excited about doing, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
I
Mhm.
think that's what it boils down to. But it just has to be fun or it has to be motivating. If not, it's not gonna benefit you to the utmost that you would want it to. And I
Yeah.
agree with Crystal, small changes and consistency. You can't do it all overnight. You can't just wake up and say, I want this whole new body or I just want to change my entire lifestyle. It's not gonna stick or be effective or efficient for you if you don't take it one step at a time, one day at a time, one decision at a time, one choice at a time.
Yeah. And I think like the part about loving yourself, and then when you talk about how you feel and having fun, you're essentially feeding your inner child or serving your inner child and allowing your inner child or embracing your inner child, really, right? So, that power of physical activity. I actually in one of my groups, the ladies talked about just doing movement for at least 30 minutes for the day, right? And every day, and just drop it in the chat what you're doing to move for 30 minutes. And so they just added me yesterday. And then I
She
saw at
said
the end of
movement or she said physical activity?
it's their choice. It
Okay.
is their choice, right? Movement is physical activity,
It sure
right?
is. That's just bringing it back full circle. Yeah.
Yeah, so like they added me yesterday, and then I seen at the end of the day, the ladies, there's just a few ladies drop what they're doing, and I think I just worked yesterday, so I didn't have anything. But today, I walked around Walmart for 45 minutes, and I was like, listen, that's mine, that's mine.
And
It
I'm
wasn't.
glad you said that because guess what? Before I forget, My cousin, when we did the challenge in October, um, we did like a movement challenge. Like we were eating certain things and then we had to move. I think it was like 31 miles in 31 days because it was 31 days in October. So it was like a breast cancer awareness thing. But, you know, I always have this anti-inflammatory approach. My cousin, she got in her steps by walking down every aisle of Walmart. So instead of thinking like I got to get on a track, like she just intentionally parked further away from the building at work, and then she just walked down every aisle in
I like
Walmart
that.
just to get her steps. And I mean, we used to see it back in there, like the mall
Yeah.
walkers. I don't know if y'all had that in Canada, but like the mall
Yeah,
walkers,
people
people would just
walk,
be in the mall and just walking
just
all the time.
walking.
Like you think like
Yeah.
the older people, but now
Yeah.
it's like it's getting colder. You want to get your steps in, so you can walk
Hmm.
Sam's, you can walk Walmart, you can walk,
But
these
I
bigger
like that it's
stores.
something that can kind of they could still enjoy. So she might
Yeah.
enjoy, I don't what do they call it? No, because the wall walkers that you're talking about, I've seen them and they're very, very intentional. Their arms are going just like a track. They're very, very intentional. And they just round the mall a few
They
damn times.
are very
But
intentional. Yeah.
what do they call it when you window shop? I don't window shop.
Okay, I got you.
I personally am not a window shopper.
Yeah, I don't
But
like shopping at all.
but for this person who enjoys, my friend Cynthia, she's not on right now. She loves window shopping. Every time I talk to this girl, she's in a mall. So I'm saying, what are you doing? What are you doing in the mall? I'm just seeing what's out here. Why? Did you need something else? Like, but she enjoys it. So for someone who's trying to get their steps, or whether it's not steps, because not everyone's counting steps, but you want to get that movement in, and you are pumping those arms with intention, or you just want to stroll and that's more movement than you typically do, because we're not going to define the right movement. Everyone's
Right.
movement is going to be different for their body type, right? And
Agree. Or
so
and their goals, what their body can actually do,
whatever,
because we also know that people have mobility restrictions. Everybody can't do
exactly,
every single thing. So you have to make it
exactly,
work for you, just like it is your journey. You have to make your journey intentional about what it is that you want out of your life, how
yeah,
you want to feel. And you're right. Like when me and Spencer walk, like I'll pay attention, like when we're trying to be really physically focused on like burning
yeah,
certain amount of calories or something like that, then I look at how fast we do a mile. But if I'm just, hey, I'm gonna get out here, I'm gonna get these steps, so I'm gonna just get to moving. Our mile could take 19 minutes for 1 mile, or it could
as
be
long as they're
15.
enjoying it.
Exactly. Like it just depends on how my body's responding. If it's fast and
Yeah,
upbeat and we ready to go, then we're on it. If not, we just strolling and there's no pressure to it because
yeah,
we're just appreciating the fact that we're getting out there and we're walking. Because why are we even focused on physical activity? Because there's benefits to physical activity, like
absolutely.
cardiovascular health. When you think about it, like just walking and moving, sometimes that gets your blood pumping, your heart pumping, and blood flowing. Like that's a benefit of physical activity or mindful movement is cardiovascular health. That's major. That leads into heart disease, and strokes and different things if you're not intentional about your heart health. Then you got like muscular strength and endurance, how weak you are. Like good getting up the steps, that's endurance, that's stamina, and I have to take like 3 flights of steps to get to my classroom, and
That's
the
crazy.
kids be out of breath, teachers be out of breath, like everybody's out of breath by the time they get up to the top floor. And if you have
That's
to do that
good.
a few times out the day, you're still going to be initially out of breath, but sooner or later your body's going to start to be able to respond better and handle that type of activity.
Yeah.
What else can you think of, Shireen? You got heart health, you got muscular strength and endurance. What other benefits do you see in regards to, excuse me, physical activity? Oh,
Hmm.
weight management. We talked about losing weight. Weight
Hmm.
management. If you're consistent with moving, you're going to be able to balance your weight. You're going to have a healthier weight management. It's not all about losing weight. It's just about maintaining a
Where you are.
healthy weight for you. Yeah, like I
Hmm.
think that's
I
good.
think.
And then we was dancing, so we had that flexibility going on too. So depending on what movements you're doing, it'll help with flexibility. I think older people sometimes
Girl,
like.
you gonna let me get in here, or you gonna just keep talking?
Oh, I'm just rolling because I'm thinking
I
about it.
know, I
I'm just
know.
thinking. I'm just like with water aerobics, that helps people
I,
with their
I just
joints
I
and stuff.
think
But go
that
ahead, you got it.
because in Canada it's cold now, right? Or in other parts of the states it's cold now. So if you can get somewhere to get that activity, and you don't have a gym membership, or you don't have the funds to put towards that, just being able to move around, even if it's just throwing on a YouTube video and getting that movement, because maybe you don't get the luxury of, or you don't want to be outside because it's cold today. It's really cold. So you don't want to really be out there. But even if you can just get moving in your living room or, in your bedroom, I see a lot of apps that have, or you can just follow videos that have things that you can do off your wall, and you can get creative with it, but still get that movement in.
Agreed. Wholeheartedly. Yes, ma'am. I like it. So overall, it can help with chronic illnesses too. That's a benefit. Any type of chronic illness, being consistent with physical activity, mindful movement will help reduce or help you manage symptoms of chronic illness. So that's a good one too. And then that leads right into the next one, Crystal. It's a mental reset. Like it's not just a physical thing. It's also a mental and emotional thing when it comes to moving and grooving. So it can definitely be a form of therapy,
Yeah.
definitely a
But I like
form of therapy.
I like how also Crystal mentioned about like making it a part of your daily routine, right? So, I mean, we're not doctors, and yes, there's like all these health benefits, right? But also just making it a part of your routine so that it is a part of your overall well-being. Especially, I've seen somebody in the store today, and we actually had a brief conversation about how our kids used to play basketball together, and how the pandemic just changed everything, and how when you're not moving, sometimes it also causes depression, right? And you don't really realize or tie it to the fact that you're not moving. But when you are moving, your body creates the hormones that allow you to feel better internally and then yet externally, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
But I'm a rock out when it comes to the health stuff because that's like my whole entire background.
Well,
And
yeah,
so I
absolutely.
just geeked out there for a minute, but it's all good. And you're right. Overall well being.
Mhm.
Overall well being. That's what it's all about. But let's tap in just a little bit, Shireen, on some of the barriers that
Sure.
could be an issue for people to overcome when it comes to getting in physical activity and mindful movement consistently. So it can be a form of therapy and overall well being, a wellness vibe for them. Like, what are some ways you think that could potentially be a barrier that make people not get started or not be able to be consistent with physical activity?
Oh, I just think the lack of time, right? I think we get so caught up with like everything that we need to do, want to do, need to do. I just have to do all these things. So the lack of time becomes either an excuse or a barrier. And because we're not sometimes setting aside that time to take care of our bodies. But when you're putting all this extra time into everything else but the physical aspect or the movement aspect of it, you're probably taken away from your own health, right?
Agree. I think time is a big one. And I think we talked about that the other day, is actually planning for success, planning out your day, setting up, like having goals, but actually
Mhm.
creating a plan. So that way you are intentional about fulfilling it and actually seeing the results of what it is that you want to do. And I
Yeah.
think you talked about it before. You had a plan of getting up at 5 a.m. to go run and train for your marathons. So you knew that you had to make time. So what time is it? At 5 a.m. I'm going to get up and I'm going to go out
Go
here. I'm going to take a
time.
That's what time it is. It's go
Yeah.
time. So, like, even though time is a barrier, you create
Make
the
the
time because
time.
everyone gets the same 24 hours in a day. And you
Excuse
have
me.
to sometimes get creative on what that looks like for you. So even if
Hmm.
it's I can't get up in the morning to go or I
Hmm.
need to go in the evening, sometimes it's let me get it in at work on my breaks for work, or how am I taking steps? How am I, so it's just the small things of being creative of how you're going to be able to get in what you say you want to get in to make it happen. One of the other barriers I was thinking of was like actually having safe spaces, to actually work out in. So you talked about, like, we know now we can do it at home. Most people have a phone, so you can put your phone on and do a YouTube video, workout, yoga, do a guided exercise, or even throw some music on and you just dance.
Yeah.
You say a certain amount of time you're gonna do it, and you just dance it out. Like you just have a good time dancing in your house. That's cardio. That's still getting in something. But if you don't have access to extra funds to get a gym membership or get a coach, or pay for some type of form of physical activity,
Hmm.
that could be a barrier in your mind instead of figuring out what can I do right here. Jump rope, even
Absolutely.
without a rope, you can still be, jump roping if you need to. If you can only afford a resistance band to do your strength training and workouts, like there's so many things you can do with just regular body weight. So I feel like sometimes people think that, not having sidewalks, not having, if they're in the country or rural areas, they don't have that mall to go be that mall walker or that Walmart aisle stepping soul sister. Like they have
Hmm.
to get creative on what it is that they can do, but they still have options, because with the world of technology and having a phone right with you and on YouTube, grateful for YouTube. Look at us now being able to amplify our voices and talk about certain things. That's a way to overcome that barrier of not having safe spaces, or maybe even saying as like a socioeconomic status. Like I said before, you don't have the extra money to spend on health coaching or fitness centers and gyms and things of that nature, that you just have to be creative with what you can do in home.
A lot of people, get into, I don't know if I'm going to say this right, calisthenics, right?
Uh-huh.
And that's using your body to do an exercise when you don't necessarily need to use anything else, right? But using your body with the things in your environment, right? And we had just talked about not wanting to go outside when it's cold. But for those that are not in cold temperatures, they can go to the local park and do the exercises there, or they can we watched, my son and I were watching a video where there was a group of guys, and I think they were in New York, and they were doing calisthenics, and they're huge and they're fit, and they're like, pulling up on the lights and things like that, or doing the Superman on the lights. But
Yeah, or at like their playground, like a neighborhood
yes,
playground,
or
and
the
just using like the monkey
exactly.
bars and stuff. Yeah,
Exactly. And you know what? Now that you say playground, some playgrounds, there are some playgrounds down here, and I'm sure everywhere, that actually have, instead of having the
they have the
activities for
workout
kids,
equipment
they got the
that's built
workout
into the playground.
equipment.
I love that. I saw that too. I
Yeah.
thought like that would be ideal for schools. Like if you
Hmm.
really want to help with childhood obesity,
Hmm.
recreate that recess area and really allow your health and your PE teachers to really be able to implement intentional activity for kids to actually get active in a fun way.
I feel like
And
they need to have a little bit of both. Like they still need to keep the
agree.
regular playground, because as a child, I don't want to be pressured by my teacher, my gym teacher, just to work out. Like get lost. I'm
No,
at my recess.
it's
Get
not the
lost.
pressure. They just have
Yeah.
standards and metrics that they have to
It's
get. Like
still
you didn't have to
pressure.
run the mile. I don't know what it's like in Canada, but we had to run the mile in elementary school. You had to
Yeah.
run
They
it
had,
one time at the year, and then you had to run it again. And you have to shave
yeah.
off sometimes. So I don't know about pressure, but there were like
Well, that's
standards
the
and
pressure.
metrics that you had to meet in gym classes, and even in high school. Like I played tennis, like I had to be able to serve the ball over the net, or Coach Baker wasn't going to
Yeah.
give me what I needed to pass in that class. So I'm not trying
Mhm.
to add pressure and making all recesses turn into a boot camp. That's not what I
Yeah,
was
like
trying
no.
to
So
say.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I know I want the teeter totter. I want the swing. So if you want that, and I've actually never seen the gyms at schools. I've seen them in regular parks, so that both, it's not just for school children,
Right.
but like adults can use it. And most time I don't actually see kids around there too much. But it's not too far from like the other park. But yeah, like let kids play.
All the way.
I'm
Come on, let's kids play. Plug
right?
in.
Where you
Shout
at?
out to the
But
activity
like
playground.
it's
Naya.
such a great statement, because I'm a child at heart, and excuse me, even before meeting Nayetta, like you want the child to have the opportunity to be a child without the parent or the teacher always implementing something. But we can digress from that, and because we're really just talking about something else altogether. So
I got you. But I
mhm.
agree with you, Aunt Roz. Like you definitely need a wellness check or a wellness partner, because if it's just you can easily just not do something. That was me when I would buy all of these DVDs of workouts, and I would put them on, and I'll start, and then I get tired, and then I'll just sit down and kind of watch some of the exercise, or I'll go and look to see if I was sweating yet after like
Mhm.
maybe 10 minutes into the workout, and then I'm like done. If you don't have anyone that's holding you accountable that's also doing it with you, you're going to likely limit your success
I don't
because you're not
agree with
going to be
you.
as
There's a lot
motivated
of,
to
I
do
don't
it.
agree with you. There's a
I
lot.
didn't say everybody. I was just
Oh,
saying
great.
sometimes it
Okay.
takes people to hold them accountable when they're trying to change their lifestyle. Because if
Yeah.
not, just saying I want to change and I'm going to do it isn't always enough. So I was agreeing that you sometimes just need that wellness partner,
Sometimes.
somebody
Yeah.
to
Some
be with
people.
you on the walk, someone to also
Yeah.
be doing what you said you're going to do and not just saying, hey, did you do what you did? And just sending a text message or call, hey, girl, did you
Hmm.
wake up? It's someone who's actually doing it with you so you know that it's empowering and
Yeah.
it's on it. I'm not taking away from those who can
Are
be really
driven.
disciplined and know exactly what it is that they want and they don't need anybody else to help them with anything. I'm not talking about those people. I'm just talking about
Okay.
those who really want to make a shift and create a lifestyle and adopt
Mhm.
healthy habits. Most of the time, those people are going to need someone to hold them accountable because they're making a change. They're doing something that's different than they normally didn't do.
I think that I agree that there's times when you could use a partner. It's definitely helpful, but also it starts with the person making a decision,
Number
right?
one.
So
Mhm.
yeah, so there are definitely people that are driven. When I was waking up at 5, I was driven. Right now, a group might be helpful to a degree, but then once
Like
I
you
get
said in
in,
that group.
right, but once
Do
I get
30 minutes or something, Shereen.
I was like 30 minutes, but once you make a decision, so group or no group, once I make a decision, but my drive doesn't have to be the same as somebody else's drive, right? Or somebody
Right.
else who might not have the self-sufficient drive to do it on their own. They recognize that they are more successful when they work with a partner or have a check-in partner, however it works for you, right? Like for that person. Yeah.
Agree. And I agree with my aunt too. Sometimes it's that older retired group that really need that camaraderie to go out and do things together. And I think sometimes having those fitness groups, and I love them. Like, I don't know if y'all have them. I forget what they're called, but it's like these
The
ladies
Tai
who like
Chi.
this. Huh? Oh, I mean, Tai Chi is good. Water aerobics is good. But I was talking about these, it's like these older ladies and they're like in a
Mhm.
little dance group. And I don't know what they're
Oh,
called, but they're like the so and so steppers. And then like they're
oh,
always out going someplace, whether that like the American Legion or
yeah,
somewhere.
yeah,
They're like always out there stepping. And they're the older group, but they're getting it and they dancing. So
yeah, yeah,
just I just love seeing people do it together.
yeah.
Because it's a different vibe when we're able to do it together. And I think culturally we're used to doing things
Together
together.
with communal,
And I think that's
communal
what
culture.
matters
Yeah,
most is that we do things together. That's why there's so much more of an emphasis on like group group classes, group
yeah,
fitness classes, group sessions, or y'all let's meet at the park. Even I've seen it in churches where churches have now started to create like fitness initiatives
yeah.
that are faith based to be able to get people to appreciate their temple, love on themselves. So
Mhm.
I love that aspect of within our culture of doing things together and making it culturally relevant. Like we've seen those people do like what was it, jazz aerobics. And
Yeah,
we've seen other like men fitness people get into it and they're dancing. The girls on the trampolines and they all getting it in and dancing. I think
yeah.
there's like some twerk thing. So like
What?
making it culturally, you've seen the twerk
I
aerobics, right?
know, no.
I think it's like in Atlanta. It's a lady that she does like the
Send
twerk
send
thing.
me a link
Oh my
because well,
god.
send me a link. I've never seen it. Send me a link so I can
Maybe
see
you should
it.
just hashtag it. I don't remember, but
Oh, oh,
hashtags like
okay.
twerk aerobics or something or twerk
My
class. I
goodness.
don't know, but
If it lifts the booty, I'm in it. I'm for it. If
and
it
there goes your
firms it
30
up,
minutes, Shereen. There goes your mindful movement, your physical activity
forget
for
squats.
30 minutes.
We're,
That's
we're
what
gonna
I'm saying.
we're
Like
gonna
you making
build
it
these
fun.
quads.
That's why they on them trampolines and they in that squat position, but they jump in and get in it. Yep. See,
Yeah.
my Aunt Ross, Houston is the one that
Oh,
had like the
Houston has
trampoline.
them.
But I
Send me
think
a
so.
link
I
at
saw
Rob.
them because actually, I think I'm following her on Instagram under my Empowered Plates
Okay.
thing because I was asking her about potentially being on the podcast so she can talk
Yeah.
more about how she even like founded this vibe,
Mhm.
this group of fitness, and how like all of these women are just really out here thriving and they're having fun and it feels good. And that again, that goes back to physical activity and helping with that balance. Like they're making time to go
Right.
to they're making time to go to these classes because they love it. And like when you're loving something or you're loving on yourself, you're going to make the time that you need that's necessary to do the things that you say you want to do. Because it all goes back to a form of self-care, self-love, and honoring your body. But I mean, yes, the twerk aerobics, it's out there.
So I
It
think
is
it's like
definitely out
you picking up like also the energy of everybody in the group,
there.
right?
Yeah,
That vibe that's happening, that energy of
that
everybody in
part.
the group, right? So
Yes.
I think that's the benefit. It's probably no different. I mean, we're talking about physical activity, but it's like when people go and they sing at the church, right? You're picking up that
That
energy
energy.
that's happening, right? So but then it's also that solo person that's getting in their exercise. For me, if I'm running, I don't even want to be talking to anybody. I just need my music, because most times I'm running to the beat, right? So I'm not the person to talk to you while and then if I am training for something, but if I'm group training, so actually, as you said, like some moms at the church, they're doing it now. I remember when
Some
my
moms at the church.
no,
I
no, no,
said
not
some
the
moms
moms.
at
No, you
the
said the people at the church. I was going to talk about some moms.
church. Okay.
When my son was playing basketball, the moms were on the side. We're in the gym. The guys are in the gym playing ball, but we're at the stage, and we're doing stuff on the stage, or we're doing things by the steps. Or he was at this big one, this big, big, huge high school, and while they're practicing, we were doing the stairs, right?
See, look at
Just getting
y'all.
just getting the exercise in. I mean, this is years ago, girl. We ain't doing shit right now.
Understood.
But
Understood. But that shows that when you're
yeah.
doing things collectively and
Hmm.
there's a vibe for it, you're probably not
Yeah.
going to be that mom that says, "Nah, I'm just going to sit in the car and text." When you see other women
Ah,
out
text
there
me
running, like you make that choice.
at this point in my life, I will be that mom. I'll be like,
I'm
listen,
But
gotta
you
get on this
weren't
live.
before, and that's
Yeah.
why you were out there moving, taking the steps,
Hmm.
enjoying it, being on the stage because you enjoyed that energy that you were getting, that vibe
Yeah.
that you were having with them. And I
Yeah.
think
I
that's what
want
matters
At
most.
one point I was teaching because at one point I wanted to be a fitness instructor. And so at one point I was teaching a soka size class. And I was the instructor. So anything to wind my waist,
Here you go. Here
anything to
you
wind
go.
my,
People
it
said
might
I
not have
was
been
a good
twerking, but
fitness instructor, but I didn't want to do it because I didn't really enjoy teaching dance. I just
mm,
enjoyed the art of dancing and having fun with it. I wasn't one who enjoyed like making up choreography or different things like that. So I did. To me, it would seem more stressful to have to come up
oh,
with
okay.
something for a group to do versus
Mhm.
just showing up. Y'all, let's have fun. Let's do this. Let's do that. Like I would rather go to the. I won't necessarily say the twerk aerobics, but I'd rather go to some type of dance form and go out there and have fun because I enjoy Dance Central, like that
Yeah.
Xbox game, and you used to, do the dance. Probably what the kids do right now on TikTok. You watch it and then you do it with the music or whatever. But you used to get
Okay.
points for your movements because it was the Xbox Connect. So it was like really
Okay.
tracking your movements to make sure you were hitting it like that. I enjoyed the absolute most. The thing I love about dancing is that to me, it didn't feel like an exercise or like something that was
Mhm.
forced to do. It just felt good to
Yeah.
do it, and your body was benefiting from it overall.
Yeah.
But that's really what I got, Shireen. You got anything else that you
Not
want to talk
really.
about in regards to that? Because that's what I had.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not really going down any particular things. I think that for me, I'm not actually doing anything as much as I should be doing. It is the beginning of the year, and it's like I think you and I had previously talked about getting into some yoga or whatever, and it doesn't have to be yoga. At one point, I was doing Pilates and just following a couple of videos off of YouTube. But I think that we should do, like, are you doing anything physical right now, Giovanni, besides walking the dog?
I am. So I challenged myself and my Facebook group to try to
Okay.
get in between 8 to 10,000 steps a
Okay.
day. So that's around 4 to 5 miles. But again,
Okay.
it's steps throughout the day. So you don't have to feel like, oh, I got to designate 2 hours or an hour and a half just to get in, all of
Yeah.
those steps at one time, but to just be intentional about moving and
Right.
stepping someplace.
Okay.
So that is my physical activity part, and then
Okay.
we're doing a plant-based prosperity challenge, and or they're doing an anti-inflammatory challenge where they can still consume meat, but no dairy, eggs, bread. So they're seeing how to take some of those inflammatory food items out of their
Mhm.
diet. And with that movement, which is anti-inflammatory, but actually moving, see how their body feels for this first month of January. So that's what I'm kind of doing right now. Today, it's not looking like it. I got like maybe 3 hours left. And I didn't get that many steps in, so I might not make that goal today, but that's not going to stop me from being intentional about it tomorrow. And I think that's a big thing that we need to hit on too. When you don't meet your mark on one
On
day,
one day.
in
Hmm.
one day, that doesn't mean you throw in the towel, you quit, or the goal
Start
is no
all over
longer
the
worth
next
it, or
day.
you're no longer worth what it is
Yeah.
that you say you want.
Yeah.
Consistency isn't necessarily about the activity, it's more so about how long you're doing what you're doing. So if there's more days that you're doing what you say you're going to do, that's being consistent versus, oh, this is the activity that I'm doing or I'm not doing. So
Yeah.
just thinking about the time that you're doing what you say you're going to do is what builds that consistency, and know that you're still worth it, even if you don't get it in and you're not perfect. Remember, it's progress over
Over
perfection. So just
perfection.
one
Hmm.
choice, one decision at a time, and just
Yeah.
vibe off of that. Just vibe
Yeah.
off of that, and give yourself what we said last week: scheduled
And
grace when
grace.
give that scheduled grace when needed, and not beat yourself up over it, because
Hmm.
you're still worth it. You're still worth everything that you say you want for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't be so hard on yourself. Yeah.
Not at all.
Hmm. I agree with you.
All right, close us out. What you got? Where's the card at?
Oh,
We appreciate y'all vibing with us today.
sure, for sure. Today was such a
Always,
weird day. But
always remember wellness. Wellness, overall wellness is the vibe. Your well-being is what matters most.
yeah.
And you
Before we
deserve to
close
power
out,
within.
before I close out, the reason I asked you because I said I'm not doing anything right now.
Mhm.
But if you're already doing something, because I was going to say, well, maybe we should do something, but you're already doing something. So anybody who's watching, jump over to Giovanni's Facebook group, and I know you'll mention it at the end if you want to join one of those challenges that she's challenging herself and the group. Right. For me, I
Right.
think
Yes,
I'm going
ma'am.
to try to get in at least 3 times a week. I need to do more than 3 times, but at least 3 times a week, some sort of movement. So I could actually see, ho, 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 ho. The cards are always so on it. So I could see some sort of changes become a part of my lifestyle. So with
That
that,
change starts with you. So whether it's 3 times a week, or if it's I got it in today, I'm gonna do my best at getting it in tomorrow, and then the next day, and then the next day, then that's the focus. So I mean, I think being specific about that goal and saying I want to move 3 times a week,
mm-hmm,
then I think you got that. But just figuring out a way to just get it in one day at a time, and I think eventually you'll get there. So you got this, Shireen.
yeah.
You got it.
You ready for this one?
I am ready.
You are learning to give yourself grace.
Man, look at
I
us.
can't even make this up. Like,
Let's go, universe. You
just
are learning
bringing
to
it,
give
just
yourself
bringing
grace.
it, just
Come
bringing it.
on. I love it.
Just
I
bring.
love
I
it.
had to laugh because I'm like, how do we start with the energy one and we end with the grace?
Because that's what it all boils down to.
Yeah,
That's what
that's
it
what was
all
meant to
boils
come
down
out.
to. Giving yourself grace and being
Hmm.
mindful of how you balance your energy and the energy you carry, because that matters on how you treat yourself, how you think
Hmm.
about yourself, how you make decisions about yourself. But it starts evolving in how you relate to other people and other
I was just
things
gonna say it's
and the
also
world.
then comes out to like how you treat other people, right?
Mhm. Yes,
So, but
ma'am.
yeah, it starts with you. It always starts with you. So, you want to give your message?
Sure. Again, I'm the Healthy Habits and Lifestyle Coach, Joe Bonnie. The Four Vibrations podcast is called Empower Plates, Empower Lives. It is on all podcast distribution platforms. And then if you're listening on Instagram or Facebook, the YouTube is Four Vibrations 2347. I think all of our handles are in the description of the video to
Mhm.
follow us on all our social media pages. If you're looking for a Healthy Habits and Lifestyle Coach, definitely check out a link in the description of any of my videos on the YouTube page. I have a anti-inflammatory guide. Let me know if you would like that for the free. I also have a plant-based alternative guide in the link of a description of any one of my videos on my channel, so you can get that if you're looking for different ways to start being intentional about having an empowered plate and feeling good about the food that you're eating that's going to be good for you. And then shout out to all my PCO as posse, my endometriosis thrivers, my adneo sisters, my fibroid shrinksters. I have a comprehensive healing guide for you as well that is free. And then, of course, like I already told you, I have the Empowered Plates, Empowered Lives Healing Community private on Facebook, where we host challenges and just really try to embrace wellness one step at a time together. So if you like to tap in and continue to vibe with me, y'all, then pull up, tap, and let's go.
For sure. For sure. And for me, everyone, you can find me on YouTube and on TikTok at blackprint.com or blackprint.com. Blackprint.com is our marketplace where we have wellness products and beauty products. So you can definitely check that out. That's also in all of my links. And then on Instagram, Instagram and Facebook, you can find me on blackprint.ca. My podcast is Voices and Vibes, because we are always amplifying these voices. This year, you'll see we'll get into more conversational interviews, some more panel interviews that we have upcoming. But also, we'll also get into a special one that I'm going to drop probably next week, where it's really about my voice is my vibe, because I'm sharing maybe lessons that I've learned or insights, realizations that have come to me based on my experiences. And it might be things that you can relate to, or things that you might have thought of as well. So, tap into that as well. Follow me on wherever you listen to your podcasting shows, or you can just keep it up here on YouTube at blackprint.com, because the video version of the podcast is always here. And don't forget to come back next Thursday, because every Thursday, Giovanni and I are here talking different wellness topics that relate to us and things that are happening outside. Yeah. Giovanni, I don't think you mentioned what your episode was that you dropped yesterday. I don't know if you want to let the crew know.
The episode yesterday was what is adenomyosis and how to heal yourself holistically from that and manage those symptoms. So it was about adenomyosis. You hear more about endometriosis, but adenomyosis is also something that is needed to be talked about a little bit more and a better awareness, because some people think that this debilitating pain that they get on their cycle is only one thing, but it can be so many different things. And so it's just good to make sure that you're aware of what could possibly be happening. So thank you for letting me tap that in.
Yeah,
and I just want you to know I did a magnesium bath the other day, so I'm still on my magnesium bath.
I'm
But
actually,
we're not gonna keep talking. We're gonna let them go.
well, I'm gonna mention my episode. I didn't mention that
Okay,
part.
go ahead.
But the episode that I dropped this week on Tuesday, that's when I dropped mine. It's about this girl out in Nova Scotia. She's a serial entrepreneur, and she went through, this is actually a 2-part episode. So the first part of the interview was actually released over a year ago. And then the second part of the interview we released this week. And she just really goes through some hardships, but that does not stop her from overcoming that and starting a brand new business that's so profitable that she's had it over 7, 8, I think 9 years now. And she started a foundation for women. So definitely something to tap into as well. She's a powerhouse, definite powerhouse. So if you're looking for some inspiration, she also has her own channel on YouTube that you can also tap into. So that's it.
That's dope. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing. It sounds like that healthy mindset, her building
For
up that
sure.
resilience to be able to do something like that. So I definitely go check that out.
For sure.
All right,
Well,
Shereen.
thank you for the time, girl.
Strong. It's the first week of 2024. Let's keep it going.
For sure. Sounds good. Thank you, everyone.
You're welcome. Y'all have a great one. Be well, love, and light. Thanks for vibing with us.
Bye.